Hi, and welcome back to Purposeful Woman. Today we have Makena Sage. Gorgeous Makena Sage. If you are listening to this podcast, I highly recommend go to a video and watch it because she's absolutely gorgeous. So Makena
Thank you.
Sage is a co-founder and the CEO of Follow Your Aliveness, a global training coaching organization dedicated to help coaches and entrepreneurs to get results in business and achieve coaching mastery. Welcome, Makena.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
We are happy to have you. And as always, I would love for you to share your story and how did you created this company? I know the coaching certifications created coaching certification.
Yeah. So my mom actually started coaching in 1986. She was one of the early pioneers in the industry, and I grew up around her work. And fast forward, ended up doing the kind of teenage rebellion thing and deciding I wanted to go a different way. And I was going to go to business school and I was going to get a corporate job, everything against entrepreneurship and everything else I grew up with. And I really bought into this idea that that's, what society said would make me happy and make me successful. And so, got out of school, realized I was further and further away from really my aliveness, my alignment, what I really wanted to do. And at that point, I had $60,000 in student loans. So I was like, okay, I have to figure something out. I can't just, but I don't think I want to do the corporate route. So I ended up starting a business, but I was scared to jump into really what my soul, my heart wanted to do, which I think was always coaching on some level. And because I had this financial pressure and everything else, I was like, okay, I'm going to just do something that people need that I'm good at. And so I had a skill set in online marketing and copywriting. And I ended up starting my first business 6 months out of university, doing that for speakers and authors and experts and coaches. And it was amazing. I built that business to six figures very quickly. I ran it for 6 years. I had amazing clients, New York Times bestselling authors and people doing incredible work in the world. But a few years in, started to really burn out. And I always say burnout isn't just physical exhaustion, it's exhaustion of the soul. And that's what I really found looking back. I thought I was just working too hard, but now I know I wasn't actually in alignment with the work I'm here to do in the world. So while I was, loved certain things about it and was making great money, it was really terrifying to make a change, to listen to those kind of inner whispers and everything that said, you're meant for more. So ultimately, about, 3-4 years ago, got the courage, got the clarity to actually make that leap into coaching and got the support to really make it happen. But that came out of my own, anxiety, panic attacks. Like I left it as long as I could before I finally was like, okay, I've got to make a shift and now run a multiple six-figure coaching business actually with my mom, who is my mentor.
That is so cool to work with the family. It's probably really fun and interesting to have a family and at work.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. We teach the aliveness method, which is the coaching communication method she spent the last 35 years developing. And since I stopped rebelling and came into this work, I really truly came alive again. It was like coming into alignment with what I felt I was always meant to do. And I love nothing more than helping other people do the same. So
Oh, and that's like a generosity of giving back. You got your aliveness
yeah.
and now you're giving back. Awesome. All right. So what was so you have a lot of journey in businesses and now you're working with your mom in business. Like what will you do differently with everything that you know right now? Like you passed six figures. What would you do differently if you think like 5 years ago?
I would have, I mean, it's hard to say, right? As you said before we got on, no regrets, but I would have listened to those inner whispers sooner before they had to escalate to full blown daily panic attacks at one point and a lot of health issues. And, I went to different coaches, I tried to get clarity. And it wasn't until my mom led me through an experience to get clarity in a very different way using her coaching approach that I finally saw what it was I wanted to do crystal clear. So I wish I had maybe gone to her sooner and asked her to support me. I was like, I could figure this out on my own. But I have to say, we have a clarity call experience we lead for people. And we developed it out of that experience that she led me through, because that's so often when people come to us, what they're struggling with the most is they just don't see clearly what it is they want to do or how to get there. So I wish I'd done that And then I wish I'd gotten the right kind of support, because I actually tried to leave my business, my former business, and start coaching about a year before I did. And I failed miserably. I made almost no money, was totally broke, and had to go back to my previous business. And it was super embarrassing. So I wish I'd gotten the right kind of support, because ultimately that's what made all the difference in me actually sticking it out, replacing my income and then growing beyond that.
I love it. So going earlier to the mom who usually knows it all.
Yeah.
You know?
Someone who's trained. I always say she's my mom, but she's not my mom. She's my mentor, she's a dear friend and a business partner. So in that case, it was really me going to her as my coach and as someone who has this level of mastery and was trained in this method, because the way we work with people is around your aliveness. It doesn't come from the head. So often coaches go in and they can help you come up with an action plan, which is awesome. There are amazing coaches out there. And I went to many of them, but I just wasn't able to see clearly, because it all was coming from here, pointing to my head, and not from truly my aliveness and, my heart and soul and what that wanted. So
I love that. I love that. So what will be the number one tip you can give? Let's say get more clear, or what anyone can do right now?
yeah. I mean, one thing is listen to the whispers inside. So if you do have that feeling, no matter what you're doing, it may not be, we're talking about how to pivot, right, into work you love. But even if it's just evolving in your current business or going to that next level, we talk about the upward spiral of development, and it starts with kind of this whisper, right? And then we get the clarity, we go into action, then there's always the breakdown. And then there's the breakthrough. And then after we have the breakthrough, we have this time where we're like, everything's amazing. And then we go, wait, but there's more. So whatever that is, you want to listen to that whisper, because if you don't, it'll become a roar. And someone told me this once: if you don't listen even still, you'll get hit by the cosmic 2x4. So we want to avoid that. Listen to those whispers so that it doesn't have to show up in health issues, or it doesn't have to show up in other things, and get support. And in terms of getting support, reach out to us, or very much that's an intuitive decision. And my experience is like, make the choice about who to work with as a coach or a mentor from, again, your heart, from your intuition, not from your head.
Love it. And the always last question, I would love for you to fill in the blank.
Okay.
If you really knew me, you will know that I am.
If you really knew me, you would know that I am very goofy. I guess. I have people are always like, you're so put together. Like, I love photo shoots. So I've got all these pretty photos because I love that. And I'm actually about to do a photo shoot next week where I smear my makeup all over my face and parody the other side. But anyway, I'm very goofy. I'm a total goofball. I love to have dance parties around the living room with my husband and my puppy. So that's the other side.
Oh, I love that. I was just sharing today, it's so funny, on one event that I was leading, a networking event, and they said, if you really knew me, you will know that I have 10 dance parties a day. I dance everywhere. So we aligned with you on this. All right. So yeah. I would love for you to share how our audience can find you, and what do you have for us today?
Absolutely. So we have an amazing quiz. It's called the World Changer Quiz. And I think that's, of course, you can go to our website, followyouraliveness.com. But if you want to really this is a great part of getting clarity. You can take this quiz. It'll tell you what kind of world changer you are. And people say that just, learning these things, it's completely free, about themselves, really helps spark a lot of that clarity about where they want to go next. So that is worldchangerquiz.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming, and thank you so much for whether you're listening or whether you're watching. We will absolutely link all the links that Makena mentioned in the show notes, so you can grab them probably somewhere around there. And I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Thanks, Viktoriia. Thanks, everyone.
And if you love this episode and you would love to see more of that, click the subscribe button to Purposeful Woman Podcast. And don't forget to text us to stay in tune with the Purposeful community for awesome tricks by texting to number +1 401 399 4105. And we will link descriptions in the episode to all of that we mentioned today. Bye. Turn your one day to day one with a purposeful day.